they postponed the release of this thing, Ben, for a year because their star, Rachel Zegler, was so unlikable, told all Trump supporters that they could fuck off, said she hated Snow White, mocked the fact that there was a prince and that she falls in love as opposed to leaning into her own power. It didn't work.
Snow White bombs, breaks records for the lowest live-action remake opening ever. Let me say that again. Ever.
The opening weekend of Disney's Snow White was nothing short of catastrophic, sending shockwaves through the film industry and leaving audiences and critics alike baffled. On-set turmoil, lackluster marketing campaign, and controversial comments by lead actress created the perfect storm. Let's dive into it and explore what went wrong. With a staggering production budget of $170 million, film managed to pull in a mere $43 million domestically during its debut, marking the lowest opening for any Disney live-action remake to date. To put this into perspective, let's compare Snow White to other recent live-action adaptations from Disney. For instance, The Lion King, released in 2019, opened with a remarkable $191 million in its first weekend, while Beauty and the Beast in 2017 garnered an impressive $174 million. Even Dumbo, which was widely regarded as a disappointment, managed to outperform Snow White with a stronger opening of $46 million. This dismal performance not only highlighted the film's failure, but also raised serious questions about Disney's strategy in reviving its iconic animated features. The road to the release of Snow White was fraught with challenges that began long before the cameras started rolling. The film's production was plagued by a series of unfortunate events that seemed to foreshadow its doom. Initially, the project faced delays due to an actor strike that swept through Hollywood, causing a halt in many productions, including this one. The strike not only delayed filming, but also created uncertainty about the film's timeline and budget, leading to increased scrutiny from Disney executives. As if that weren't enough, there was a COVID outbreak on set with several cast and crew members testing positive, leading to additional shutdowns. To make matters worse, the production faced a literal fire on set, which caused significant damage and forced the crew to halt filming for an extended period. This incident not only delayed the project further, but also raised questions about the safety protocols in place during filming. Such a series of unfortunate events painted a picture of a production in turmoil, leading many to speculate whether the film would ever see the light of day. As the production team scrambled to address these issues, the mounting pressure began to take its toll. The film's director and producers were under immense scrutiny, with Disney executives closely monitoring the situation. The combination of delays, budget overruns, and negative press created a perfect storm of anxiety and uncertainty. By the time the film was finally completed, the excitement that typically accompanies a Disney release had been replaced by skepticism and doubt. The troubled production history became a focal point in the media, with outlets speculating about the film's potential for success. Many critics pointed to the chaotic behind-the-scenes events as indicators of a film that was destined to fail. But the worst part was still ahead. As the film approached its release, the spotlight shifted to its lead actress, Rachel Zegler, whose comments about the original Snow White sparked outrage among moviegoers and industry veterans alike. In various interviews, Zegler made headlines for her dismissive attitude toward the original film, calling it creepy, and suggesting that the character of Snow White needed a modern makeover. These comments did not sit well with fans who cherished the original 1937 animated classic. Many felt that Zegler's remarks were not only disrespectful, but also indicative of a broader trend in Hollywood to disregard the legacy of beloved stories in favor of contemporary reinterpretations. The backlash reached a fever pitch when Zegler described Snow White's love interest as a weird stalker during an interview with Extra TV.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story. With a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, we cast a guy in the movie.
This comment struck a nerve with audiences, many of whom felt that Zegler was undermining the romantic elements that have been integral to the Snow White story for generations. The reaction was swift and severe. Fans took to social media to express their outrage, with many calling for a boycott of the film. Critics echoed these sentiments, arguing that Zegler's comments reflected a lack of understanding and appreciation for the source material. The backlash was so intense that it prompted Disney to issue a statement defending the film and its cast, but the damage had already been done. Industry insiders also weighed in, with some expressing concern over Zegler's ability to carry the film. David Hale Hand, the son of the original film's supervising director, publicly criticized her lack of respect for Disney's legacy. He stated, "Rachel's comments show a complete disregard for what Walt Disney Disney and his team created all those years ago. Snow White is a cultural icon, and to dismiss her story is to dismiss the very foundation of Disney. Instead of generating excitement, Zegler's comments fueled a narrative of controversy that permeated the film's marketing cycle. As the film's release drew closer, the backlash against Rachel Zegler intensified, creating a perfect storm of negativity. In a desperate attempt to quell the growing discontent, Zegler participated in a series of interviews where she attempted to clarify her earlier statements. However, her efforts often fell flat, as many felt that her apologies lacked sincerity. The backlash only grew stronger. The media frenzy surrounding Zegler's remarks reached a boiling point when she made headlines for her political statements. In a series of Instagram posts, she criticized Donald Trump and his supporters. "May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace," she said. This inflammatory rhetoric further alienated a significant portion of the audience, particularly those who felt that her comments were not only disrespectful, but also divisive. The backlash from the MAGA crowd was swift, with many calling for Disney to fire Zegler and threatening to boycott the film if she remained involved. The pressure mounted, and Disney found itself in a precarious position, unable to sever ties with Zegler without facing backlash from the very fans they were trying to appease. As the controversy escalated, Zegler was forced to issue a public apology for her comments. In a statement, she expressed regret for her earlier posts, saying, "I let my emotions get the best of me. Hatred and anger have caused us to move further and further away from peace and understanding, and I am sorry I contributed to the negative discourse." However, many felt that her apology was insincere and merely a response to the mounting pressure from both fans and Disney executives. The fallout from Zegler's comments had a profound impact on the film's promotional efforts. Instead of generating excitement and anticipation, the narrative surrounding Snow White became one of controversy and division. Critics began to question whether audiences would be willing to overlook Zegler's remarks and embrace the film, and the answer became increasingly clear as the release date approached. In light of the mounting backlash and the negative press surrounding Rachel Zegler, Disney found itself in a position where damage control was not just necessary, it was imperative. The studio, known for its family-friendly content and beloved characters, was facing a public relations nightmare. With the film's release looming, Disney executives scrambled to reshape Zegler's public image and mitigate the damage caused by her controversial remarks. One of the first steps Disney took was to limit Zegler's exposure during the film's promotional tour. Instead of the traditional red carpet events and press junkets that typically accompany a Disney release, the studio opted for a more subdued approach. The premiere was stripped down, avoiding the usual fanfare and media coverage that typically accompanies a Disney release. Insiders revealed that Disney was extremely cautious about putting Zegler in front of reporters, fearing that her presence could lead to further controversy. Disney's attempts at damage control extended beyond limiting Zegler's public appearances. The studio also worked to reframe the narrative surrounding the film, emphasizing its themes of empowerment and modernity. They sought to highlight the film's diverse cast and its commitment to reimagining classic stories for a new generation. However, these efforts were met with skepticism, as many felt that the damage had already been done. Despite Disney's best efforts, the negative press surrounding Zegler continued to overshadow the film's promotional efforts. Critics and fans alike remained unconvinced, and the sentiment surrounding Snow White shifted from one of anticipation to one of caution. The film's marketing campaign struggled to resonate with audiences, and the buzz surrounding the release was lukewarm at best. As the release date approached, Disney executives were left to grapple with the reality that Snow White was not just facing a potential box office failure, it was also at risk of becoming a cultural flashpoint. The film's controversies had sparked discussions about the broader implications of modern remakes and the importance of respecting the legacy of beloved stories. When Snow White finally hit theaters, the reality of its box office performance became painfully clear. The film grossed a dismal $43 million during its opening weekend, a catastrophic result for a project with a budget of $170 million. The numbers were not just disappointing, they were alarming, signaling a significant shift in audience sentiment and raising questions about the future of Disney's live-action adaptations. The film's performance was particularly striking when compared to other recent Disney remakes. The stark contrast in box office performance underscored the magnitude of the failure and the challenges Disney faces in recapturing the magic of its animated classics. Critics were quick to weigh in on the film's performance, with many attributing its failure to the controversies surrounding Zegler and the film's troubled production history. The negative reviews poured in, with critics panning the film for its lack of coherence and failure to capture the charm of the original. The Rotten Tomatoes score reflected this sentiment, plummeting to an abysmal percentage that signaled widespread disapproval. As the dust settled, Disney executives were left to assess the damage. The failure of Snow White not only impacted Zegler's burgeoning career, but also raised questions about Disney's future direction in its live-action adaptations. Would they continue to pursue remakes of their animated classics, or would this flop serve as a wake-up call to rethink their approach? The fallout from Snow White's disastrous performance performance reverberated throughout Hollywood, prompting discussions about the future of live-action adaptations and the broader implications for the film industry. Industry insiders began to speculate on whether Disney would reconsider its strategy of remaking beloved animated classics, especially in light of the backlash against Rachel Zegler and the film's overall failure. Many industry experts pointed to the growing trend of audience fatigue with remakes and reboots. As studios continue to mine their back catalogs for recognizable properties, there is a palpable sense of weariness among viewers who crave original storytelling rather than rehashed versions of stories they already know. The failure of Snow White served as a stark reminder that nostalgia alone is not enough to guarantee success. Audiences are looking for fresh perspectives and innovative storytelling that honors the original while offering something new. For Rachel Zegler, the fallout from Snow White has been nothing short of devastating. Once seen as a rising star in Hollywood, she now finds herself at the center of a storm, with many questioning whether her career can recover from this debacle. The backlash against her comments and the film's failure have left a lasting impact on her public image, and the road ahead is fraught with challenges. Celebrities are now more accessible than ever, and their words can have immediate and far-reaching consequences. The backlash against Zegler's comments serves as a cautionary tale for actors and filmmakers alike, emphasizing the need for sensitivity and awareness when discussing beloved characters and stories. In an era where public opinion can shift rapidly, maintaining a positive public image is crucial for any actor's career. As discussions about the future of Disney's live-action adaptations unfolded, some industry insiders speculated that the studio might pivot toward more original content rather than relying solely on remakes. This shift could involve exploring new stories that resonate with contemporary audiences while still capturing the magic that Disney is known for. By focusing on original narratives, Disney could potentially avoid the pitfalls that come with reimagining beloved classics and instead create new stories that can stand on their own. The failure of Snow White serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of respecting legacy while also embracing innovation. Disney must find a balance between honoring its past and creating new stories that resonate with contemporary audiences. The future of live-action adaptations may depend on the studio's ability to adapt to changing audience expectations and preferences. Will Disney take a step back and reassess its approach to remakes, or will they continue to push forward, hoping for a different outcome? And for Rachel Zegler, the question lingers. Can she rise from the ashes of this controversy, or has her moment in the spotlight already faded? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more.